Today we're going to talk about the reported plans by the International Criminal Court, or ICC, that reportedly plans to issue arrest warrants against Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, including IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi, and even Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Now, the ICC is currently investigating Israel's conduct in the Gaza war against the Hamas terrorists. Now, the chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has said that the ICC is investigating Israel as well as Hamas. So we just have to note that, because it's been not been reported a lot, actually, that the ICC is investigating Israel and the conduct of Hamas during this war. Now, Israel is very concerned about this ongoing investigation and plans to issue arrest warrants. Prime Minister Netanyahu has talked about this a couple of times in recent days. He's slammed these plans, saying that they would hurt Israel and even hurt all democracies in the world, and could potentially have catastrophic consequences even for the US. Now, let's take a step back and look at this overall, because many have been a bit confused in recent months over reports between the ICJ and the ICC. Now let's take a step back and look at this. The ICC is the International Criminal Court. The ICC is tasked with investigating war crimes, human rights violations among individuals. So this is why their reported plans to issue arrest warrants against Israeli leaders are relevant in this case. That's the ICC, that's what we're talking about today. Now, in recent months, there have been a lot of reports about the ICJ. This is the International Court of Justice. And the ICJ, we've reported on All Israel News a couple of times in recent months. At the ICJ, South Africa, for example, brought a case against Israel for the alleged genocide that Israel is carrying out during the Gaza war against Palestinian civilians. That's something else. That's a different topic. We're talking about the ICC. Now let's look at what this issue of the arrest warrants could mean for Israeli officials. Now, as we wrote on All Israel News a couple days ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu has talked to US President Joe Biden about this issue and has asked him to try to influence the ICC to go back on its plans to not carry out these plans. In addition, Israel has activated several institutions across the government in efforts to combat these plans. They have the Prime Minister's office, Benjamin Netanyahu's office, has activated some of its resources. The Foreign Ministry has started contacting people around the world in an effort to influence them and try to stop these plans. And also Israel's National Security Council. So we're seeing a concerted effort from the Israeli government across all levels to stop this, which really shows the level of concern here about what this could mean for Israel. Now let's look at what this would mean practically if the ICC would go ahead and issue arrest warrants against Israeli leaders for genocide or for violation of human rights. This would mean that in the countries that are signatories to the ICC's founding statute, which, by the way, Israel and the US are not, that's important to say, but countries that are signatories would be, at least feel like they would need to, if not be legally bound to, arrest these Israeli leaders if they would travel to those countries. That would mean that Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Gallant and IDF Chief of Staff Halevi could not travel, for example, to Europe. They couldn't travel across the world as they usually do to fulfill their duties. Now, another way that this could hurt Israel is the devastating signal that this would send to the whole world. This is a highly respected court internationally across the world. And this court saying that Israel, basically saying through its arrest warrants that Israel is either carrying out genocide or human rights violations or war crimes, this would first of all signal to other countries that you can't sell weapons to a country that is accused of such things. And it will also, as the Prime Minister Netanyahu said in a video message yesterday, just be, this is a quote, jet fuel to anti-Semitism that is already rising across the world. This would give more ammunition to people saying that Israel is a genocidal state. And this could give them the opportunity to even point at this highly respected organization to say, look, it's not just us saying this, it's the International Criminal Court saying this. So it would give fuel to anti-Semitism. It would hurt Israel's reputation all around. And this is something that Israel is not prepared to accept. So what has been the US reactions to all of this? As we said at the beginning, Prime Minister Netanyahu called Biden to ask for his help. We actually don't know what came of this. President Biden at the moment hasn't spoken publicly about this issue, which is disappointing for Israel. On the other hand, his White House spokesman has said that the US doesn't accept, as we said earlier, doesn't accept the ICC's jurisdiction over this and doesn't agree with its investigation and its reported plans to issue the arrest warrants, as we said. On the other hand, also, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson has come out very strongly against those reports and even suggested that in the US House, there could be laws or bills prepared to sanction ICC officials in case they would go ahead with these arrest warrants. Now, something that Mike Johnson has said, as well as Benjamin Netanyahu, is that this case, even though it targets only Israel at the moment, would be devastating for democracies across the world in their fights against terrorism. This means that if you're fighting terrorism and you're accused at the ICC of human rights violations, for example, the ICC could go ahead and effectively stop you from fighting those terrorists. Now, as Speaker Johnson has said, this could also apply for the US. And the US, remember, as Israel, is not a signatory to this statute of the ICC. That means legally the ICC does not have jurisdiction over Israel or the US. Even so, they're reported to plan to issue those arrest warrants. A devastating signal for democracies, as Speaker Johnson has said, across the world. So even though we have those strong statements by Speaker Johnson and the somewhat less strong statement by the White House spokesman in support of Israel, here in Israel, some people are suggesting that possibly the Biden administration and the White House aren't really all that concerned or don't seem all that concerned about this report. And why? That's the important thing here. We're still in a very sensitive situation at the moment. Israel still hasn't carried out its plan to go into Rafah, as was long planned, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has been talking about this for months at this point. The US is against this incursion into Rafah. Remember, Israel is saying that this is the place where 4 Hamas battalions continue to be and haven't been destroyed yet. It's also probably the hiding spot of Hamas's remaining leadership in Gaza, and also the place where the Israeli hostages are being kept, probably deep underground somewhere together with the Hamas leadership. So that's Rafah. The US is opposed to Israel entering Rafah. They have said this a couple of times publicly. So some in Israel are suggesting that maybe the US, the Biden administration, is using this situation, either just not doing anything, not issuing strong statements against it, or even possibly behind the scenes urging the ICC to continue with its plans in order to create more pressure on Israel, on the one hand, not to go into Rafah, and on the other hand, to accept a hostage deal, which at least the right wing in Israel and many more people in Israel actually are not sure about if Israel should agree to. We have at the moment, Egypt is mediating a deal. It looks like it's continuing to go ahead. We're waiting on a response by Hamas. And again, this is not a verified report, but I'm reporting that people in Israel are saying this. Some journalists are also saying this, that it could be that the US isn't coming out as strongly, that the Biden administration isn't coming out as strongly as it could in order to increase the pressure on Israel to forego its Rafah incursion and agree to a hostage deal that would effectively possibly end the war. What do you think about this whole issue? Is it possible that the friendly US government is doing such a thing? Maybe they're just using this situation to their advantage. What do you think Israel should do in this situation? What do you think the US should do in this situation? Let us know down in the comments. If you like this video, like it on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the other All Israel News social media channels. Thank you for watching.